The pharmaceutical industry loves overweight and unhealthy people. That is their consumer base. So if you're fit and healthy, they don't like you. All right, guys, I'm going to read to you some quotes from Dr. Fatima Stanford. She's a member of the Biden USDA's Dietary Guidelines Advisory Committee. So she works for the administration, and she's recently been on 60 Minutes talking about obesity. You guys know obesity is this growing kind of chronic issue that we've seen in modern societies, and it affects America quite a lot. So here's what she said. Literally, these are her words in the 60-minute interview. She said that having obesity is due to genetics.
The number one cause of obesity is genetics.
Okay. Having obese parents increases your risk or gives you a 50 to 80% risk of being obese yourself.
That means if you are born to parents that have obesity, you have a 50 to 85% likelihood of having the disease yourself.
And then she said in there that obesity is a brain disease because your brain tells you how much to eat and how much to store.
It's a brain disease.
It is?
It's a brain disease. And the brain tells us how much to eat and how much to store.
What do you guys think about that, Adam? What do you think?
I mean, I think there's a couple ways to look at this. One, I don't believe it to be true, but let's say it was true. Would I approach it this way as far as like sharing it to people? Because I mean, I think of like having a client. Actually, I think of having like a child. If I had a child, let's say that had a disability, and he's coming to me and is down or frustrated because he's struggling to do something because he has this disability. And am I the type of father that would be like, yeah, son, sucks for you. You know, you didn't get dealt good cards, and so you can't do those things, you know? Or would I try to reframe his situation and empower him and motivate him to help him regardless of the situation or the cards that he was dealt? And so my opinion, when I hear something like that, instead of trying to get in this argument and get in the weeds like most people will, you know, that will start to try and argue the science of who's more right in this situation. I think even if that other side that I disagree with is right, it's still not how I would approach this situation.
So yeah, I got to kind of interject in terms of like, none of those statements are factual. So I can't have those kind of arguments of like, you know, playing the other person's role in this. We haven't seen any examples of this in history of obesity being a genetic factor.
Yeah.
So this is a new problem that we're addressing that is now has a new spin to it that we're hearing that is very alarming to me.
I'm super alarmed by it. First I want to address the 50 to 80% likelihood of being obese if you have obese parents. There's two ways of looking at it. One is it's genetic. So your parents are obese, therefore you're going to be obese. You have the same genes. The other way to look at it is that if you're a kid and you grow up in a household where people lead a lifestyle that leads to obesity, you by default also will lead and learn to lead a lifestyle that will cause obesity.
Yeah.
So it doesn't at all, in my opinion, discredit the lifestyle argument. Now, to what you said, Justin, obesity is a modern problem. I mean, you go back 100 years and it wasn't prevalent at all. Now, genetics plays somewhat of a role, but obesity was almost non-existent if you go back 100 years, 200 years.
Can't you make the case when it comes to epigenetics, you can make the case that genetics always play some sort of a role. Everything. Intelligence, success in life, longevity, strength.
There's always a combination of that and nature.
That is always factored into every. So that goes back to my point of like highlighting or pointing that out, even if it was true, which I don't believe it to be true, is still irrelevant to me as far as a case to even bring up.
So your big argument is, and I see what you're saying. I agree with you. Your big argument is it's not only is it disempowering, but potentially there's a reason why they would want us to be unempowered. Like, what's the goal?
Yeah,
like, why would you
money?
Want
what's the desired outcome of that statement and to come out with that type of
money? If you cannot see where this is going, you're an idiot. You really are an idiot if you cannot see where this is going. It's like Big Pharma has proven this to us time and time again, and they are not interested in what's best for you. They are driven. Okay, they have shareholders, and they are driven by being profitable and making money. And if they have any sort of relationship with news and media and have the ability to, I mean, it sounds really bad to say this, but I mean, you almost can't blame them if they're in the business of making money and that's what they care about first and foremost, to go about it this way. It's the perfect way to set the table for what's to come.
Well, it's baked into the system, I think it would be another way to say it, right? Like if your industry revolves around treating chronic illnesses or treating issues through medications, then your target consumer is just by default, it is not fit and healthy people, because fit and healthy people don't need those kinds of treatments. So there's that. And then you're looking at how can we increase our market share? How can we make the market that we're serving much larger? Well, if more people get fit and healthy, it shrinks your market.